because of some things that were shared with me today, I wanted to do a brief midweek update focusing mainly on implementing the globalist agenda. As you know, I've talked for a long time about the convergence of events, and certainly what we've seen with the coronavirus and the related global, I don't know how else to describe it other than the related global economic collapse. We are seeing some absolutely incredible things. So I want to just focus tonight on just some things I'll expand more on Sunday when I have more time. But I wanted to just share a couple economic things with you, and then a website that someone shared with me that I have spent some time looking through today and talking with a couple friends about. And I have to say that in terms of, when I talk about this being the implementation of the globalist agenda, the website that I found is just absolutely shocking. Now, I'm going to couch my comments about the website that I was directed to today with the understanding that it is April 1st. So I've had a number of people look at this with me. We really don't think this is a joke, but I'm going to give you the caveat that it is April 1st. But what I found is just absolutely shocking in terms of how comprehensive it is about what people are planning and revealing about their intent to establish a new global order, or a global order, or a one world global order, however you want to describe that. And it's something that we know that is coming. Now, in Matthew chapter 24, Jesus gave some indicators about how we should act in the end times. In Matthew chapter 24, verse 15, Jesus said, "When ye therefore shall see the abomination of desolation spoken of by Daniel the prophet, stand in the holy place, whoso readeth, let him understand." It was very clear there that Jesus believed that the book of Daniel was written by Daniel the prophet, and that it was important for us to read the book and to understand it. He also goes on to say that with regard to the abomination of desolation, that once the abomination of desolation happens, then there will be a period of great tribulation. Verse 21, for then, the then is tied back to the abomination of desolation. For then shall be great tribulation, such as was not since the beginning of the world to this time, no, nor ever shall be. And except those days should be shortened, there should no flesh be saved, but for the elect's sake, those days shall be shortened. A number of years ago, I was, I guess 2 or 3 years ago, I was in Bakersfield, and I did a teaching called the Mascaline. It was about people who are described in Daniel 11 and 12 that will be able to ascertain things that are happening in the end times, and they will be able to instruct others. For example, in Daniel chapter 12, verse 3, it says, and they that be wise shall shine as the brightness of the firmament, and they that turn many to righteousness as the stars forever and ever. But thou, O Daniel, shut up the words and seal the book, even to the time of the end. Many shall run to and fro, and knowledge shall be increased. Now, we've discussed this in the past. I've discussed this in the past, that there's certainly, I think there's a surface meaning and a deeper meaning to be ascertained from Daniel chapter 12, verse 4. Certainly people will run to and fro. That until recently, that was pretty true in our world. Now it doesn't seem like anybody's really running to and fro. But I think the deeper meaning of it is that people will run to and fro, move to and fro, back and forth through the book, and their knowledge will be increased, particularly in light of what is happening in the world. And then in Daniel chapter 12, verse 8, it says, "And I heard, but I understood not. Then said I, O my Lord, what shall be the end of these things? And he said, Go thy way, Daniel, for the words are closed up and sealed till the time of the end. Many shall be purified and made white and tried, but the wicked shall do wickedly, and none of the wicked shall understand, but the wise shall understand." The world is in the grips of a very serious economic crisis. This is the Form 8K filed recently by the Cheesecake Factory, which is probably one of the most successful restaurant chains in American history. We all love, most people love the Cheesecake Factory, even though they took their Vietnamese summer rolls off the menu, but we can forgive them for that. But in their 8K filing this week, and this is what I've alluded to the last couple updates, is what is happening is things seen in our economy that have never really happened before on such a massive scale. So here is the Cheesecake Factory, one of the most successful restaurant chains we've ever seen, and they issue an 8K. Now, an 8K, publicly traded companies have to issue these reports and statements, file them with the Securities and Exchange Commission to let people know of material changes in the financial operations of the company. And this is what the Cheesecake Factory said in their most recent 8K filing. In addition to the curtailment of our dine-in restaurant operations and landlord closures of certain properties, we have, and so in some cases, even though they could do maybe carry out, the landlords have said you can't do anything. That's because a lot of times they're located in a mall. We have furloughed approximately 41,000 hourly restaurant staff members. Then it goes on, and then the next paragraph is sort of the key. Given the impact of governmental regulations and landlord decisions to close properties, considering the nature of our rent obligations, and as part of the ongoing efforts to manage our financial position and further preserve financial flexibility, we are not planning to pay our rent on our leases for the month of April 2020 at this time. We're in various stages of discussions with our landlords regarding ongoing rent obligations, including the potential deferral, abatement, and or restructuring of rent otherwise payable during the period of the COVID-19 related closure. I don't think, as an attorney who works with real estate developers, banks, lenders, different kinds of people in this area, this is not anything that I've ever seen happen before on such a massive scale that a major restaurant chain would stop making any lease payments at all on any of their properties. And it's understandable because Cheesecake Factory has no money coming in. And so companies that don't have money coming in are going out and drawing down the entire amount of their line of credit so they can hoard cash. For example, I think I mentioned Sunday that General Motors had drawn down $16 billion on its existing lines of credit. They've maxed them out because they need cash because they don't know when they're going to restart operations. Another area where the economy is, I guess, cratering is the oil industry. And you can see here that oil dropped on Monday below $20 per barrel. They're doing massive cuts in production, shuttering oil facilities and that sort of thing. Yesterday in the Times of London on their business page, they had a very interesting article to kind of show you the scope of what is going on. And the title of the article was, "Plunging Oil Price Could Go Negative." I talked to a friend who's a financial analyst today, and I mentioned this headline to him, and he was somewhat incredulous as to how this could happen. But listen, this is exactly how it could happen. Listen to what it says in the article. And understand that in the context of this, oil rigs, shale oil drilling in the United States is completely shutting down, if it's not completely shut down already, because the price of oil has dropped so low. And shale oil production is more expensive than, say, Saudi Arabia, who can get oil out of the ground for $5 a barrel or so. But shale oil requires, fracking, a lot of extra equipment and that sort of thing, and sophisticated drilling techniques. And as a result, the break-even point for shale oil is somewhere in the $40 to $60 per barrel range. So it's not. So when oil goes down to $20, it just doesn't make any sense to continue oil producing. But look at this. Demand has plummeted by about a quarter as sweeping restrictions on economic activity are imposed to battle the spread of COVID-19. Oil prices for some landlocked fields, such as onshore in the United States, are heading towards negative territory as producers are running out of places to store surplus crude. Given that an analyst at Goldman Sachs said this, given the cost of shutting down a well, a producer would be willing to pay someone to dispose of a barrel. This is something we've never really seen before because it costs so much to shut down these wells that because the gas prices and oil prices drop so much and may drop even further, maybe even down, I've heard below $10 a barrel, that it would be more economically viable for some oil producers to pay people to take their oil because they can't store it anywhere, but it costs a lot to shut down a well. You just don't shut down a well overnight. And so this has, and this is what so while we like cheap gas, the related thing is that once this thing is resolved, there will be maybe even a bigger problem and shock. As this article in the Times of London says, millions of barrels per day of production is likely to be shut, raising the prospect that when the crisis passes, there will be an inflationary oil supply shock of historic proportions because so much oil production will be forced to be shut in, they warn. Again, this is really uncharted territory. So at the time that you see this, the leaders of the world wrestling with how to deal with this virus crisis, and I personally believe that it is a crisis in terms of the impact that it will have on acute care, meaning intensive care facilities within the countries where it breaks out. They wrestle with the issue of, well, do we try to stop the virus from breaking out or having this huge impact on our acute care facilities, balance against the fact that if we shut everything down, we destroy the economy, and that has a lot of shocking things will happen there as well. And so as a result, as I mentioned Sunday, we sort of are in this place where people are desperately looking for someone who has an answer. Now, we know that prophetically, there will come a time when there is a man with a plan. This morning, somebody sent me a website link. I'm going to share that link with you now. It's a link at the World Economic Forum. It's called Strategic Intelligence. Now, you have to register. There's a free registration. There's a paid part that you can pay to access more information on the website. And I know some people, given the World Economic Forum and who they're related with and that type of thing in their globalist agenda, people are concerned about signing up. So I understand that. So I'm going to go through a few pages of this website with you to just show you what I have not seen until today. I have talked with some friends about this. I just had a long conversation with my friend Brandon Holthouse, pastor at Rock Harbor Church in Bakersfield, California, and we kind of walked through some of this website, and we were sort of stunned at the vast amount of information, the hyperlinks together. And again, I will qualify this that this information came to me on April 1st, but I think as you look through how this is tied together, it does not appear to be an April Fool's joke. What you see here, assuming it is true, is a highly detailed, complex roadmap to how globalists intend to use COVID-19 and a host of other issues to implement a globalist agenda. I've never seen anything like this in my life. Here are the URLs for the websites. The page I just showed you is the link at the top. And then if you want to type out the link at the bottom, you can go to the COVID-19 link. So now I'm going to take you to that website, and we're going to kind of walk through some of the things that are there. And then we'll finish this update and try to keep it brief. And I'll talk certainly more about that this Sunday and in the weeks to come, because this is the most comprehensive, interrelated website laying out globalist plans that I've ever seen. So if you go to the Strategic Intelligence website, you will see a pretty comprehensive list of things on the page that you can scroll through. So for example, as you scroll down through this, you will see these various insight areas. And when you click on them, so for example, there are certain highlight areas that they think are very important: global health, financial, monetary systems, COVID-19. And then when you go down, scroll down the page, there is a comprehensive list of all these different topics. So I'm just going to click on a couple of those to show you what's going on. For example, they have 5G, they have artificial intelligence, they have links for each country, certain organizations, behavioral sciences, blockchain, biotechnology. And I've spent a lot of time on this website. I've never noticed this before, and maybe this has been around a little bit longer than I know about, but this is so incredibly comprehensive that it is just absolutely shocking what's here. So, for example, let's go down here to COVID-19. So when you come up to these, when you go to COVID-19, you click on COVID-19, you come to this hub and spoke wheel. And what you'll see is that all of these different little circles and squares are hyperlinks. And so what you see on the right are publications, videos, data regarding this particular subject. And then as you scroll down, you will see all the articles and publications. If you go to data, you will see all these data articles about COVID-19. If you go to videos, you will see hyperlinked videos, old TED Talks, all of these things hyperlinked to this particular subject. And as you drill down into the different little circles and squares on this hub and spoke of COVID-19, which kind of interestingly enough sort of looks like the coronavirus in a sense. But so this is how the World Economic Forum has put together this comprehensive list of information about COVID-19. This is just one of the many, many issues that I showed you on the previous page. So, for example, if you look at COVID-19's impact on financial markets, the main circle in the middle, then the upper left-hand circle, and you click on that, then it shows you all the related information. So if you then go click on publications, it will show you all the things about COVID-19, articles and things that are related to the impact on financial markets from COVID-19. You can then, this is sort of the overview list of articles, videos, and data, some of them in foreign language publications. For example, there is a link here to China. If you click on China, then you have this massive amount of information about China. If you then go back to COVID-19, you click on government response, it gives you different hyperlinks. If you go to COVID-19's impact on trade, finding a vaccine, impact on travel, And it shows you all the different countries where there's been articles about impact on travel and how this COVID-19 is going to affect everything. As I said, the hyperlinking and comprehensive nature of this website goes down many levels. So, for example, here we're at the impact on travel. You can read more about this. It gives you related topics. The parent topic being COVID-19 talks a little bit about the economic impact on air travel. Has evaporated, new border controls emerged as the coronavirus spread. And understand, we're sort of at the beginning of this COVID-19 crisis. And yet here's the World Economic Forum with this massive amount of information all hyperlinked together. Now, I know I talked about this over 2 months ago in my prophecy update. I think it was January 26th. I mentioned this World Economic Forum Event 201, sponsored by the World Economic Forum, Gates Foundation, and some others, where they war gamed a coronavirus outbreak. In that case, it started in South America, and it had some differences from the coronavirus outbreak that we've had here. But it talked about, what were some of the scenarios that would happen if something like this broke out, and how much would it cost, and what would the impact be. In that particular war game, they ended up that over 18 months there were 65 million dead worldwide, very similar to the numbers for the Spanish flu back in the 1918 to 1920. And then the economic impact, and they said that one of the things that would be highly impacted would be air travel and that sort of thing, because people are not going to fly when they're spreading viruses all over the place. So mind you, this is just one topic of what I'm seeing here at this World Economic Forum, Strategic Intelligence. If I go back one level to for here, financial and monetary systems. If we click on financial and monetary systems, we get yet another spoken wheel with all of this information, setting the financial rules, financial risk and resilience, stormy financial seas, all of which have massive amounts of articles, videos, and data, all hyperlinked, all interrelated. So again, if you click on read more, it says here, financial and monetary systems, geopolitical upheaval is having a serious impact on global financial and monetary systems. And all of this is designed in many respects to get you to believe that the solution is a global solution. And we know this is coming, but the thing that I think is sort of shocking to those of us who've seen this today is the absolutely comprehensive nature of this thing and how it has come together apparently so quickly. Now, something like this does not get put together overnight. I have clicked through some of these links. I've clicked on over 100 links. I have yet to find a single broken link anywhere in this on this website. In other words, a link that you click on that takes you to a page not available. I have yet to find that. So it is just absolutely, I hate to overuse the term, but it is shocking to me how quickly this has come together. Let me move back one more. I'll have to exit full screen here for a moment, and I will go down and I will show you, let's see, let's look for artificial intelligence and robots. When you click on artificial intelligence and robots, again, you have all of these hyperlinks. And you see one of the first articles here is, and a lot of these articles, if you'll notice, as you scroll down through the articles, they're dated like March 30th, March 31st, March 29th. So you see all the recent articles of the first that are all dated at the beginning, that are all dated April 1st. How digital infrastructure can help us through the COVID-19 crisis. So you click on that, you click on view the full article, and it will take you to the World Economic Forum article on COVID-19, how digital infrastructure can help us through the COVID-19 crisis. So I just want to give you, again, this is just a very, very high overview of what is actually taking place, or what information is available at Strategic Intelligence at the World Economic Forum. I think it is clearly a roadmap to the globalist agenda. And the speed with which it came about is just, as I said, is just absolutely stunning to me. For example, if we go down here to, I'm sure there's a link for climate change, which has been, until the COVID crisis thing came up, this was one of the big deals. And here we see there's a climate change website. Curator is Yale University, and it is just, again, every time you click on one of these circles, you're taken to yet more like links in the spoken wheel. For example, you go down here, you have climate change, building climate coalitions, and one of these sublinks is global governance. You click on global governance, and it will take you to look at all the articles that are dated April 1st, 2020, that relate to global governance. This is curated by the Blavatnik School of Government, University of Oxford. And you'll see, so again, the shocking thing is how quickly this came together in such a the comprehensive nature of it. This has been planned for quite a while. Now, we'll talk in the future about the implications of this and how this is all coming together and what it might mean prophetically. But I just wanted to take a few moments tonight to put this in front of you. This is shocking. I think it's something that we should have expected. You know, a lot of times when we talk about Bible prophecy, we always talk about this will happen and this will happen, and we have all our little charts and graphs and all that type of thing. But one of the things that I've always thought about is, what is it that triggers these things? We know a global governance, a one world government is coming. How is that triggered? What is it that happens? You think back to the beginning of World War I, and it was the assassination of Archduke Ferdinand, the crown prince of the Austro-Hungarian Empire in Sarajevo in 1914, that led to World War I. Now, I don't know that anybody thought that the assassination of the Archduke happened and his wife in Sarajevo, and then within a year we're in a world war that lasts a number of years, the First Great War, they call it. I don't know that anybody knew at the time that that was a trigger. So it's one of these things that I think when we sometimes don't realize it until we're into it. For example, we know the prophecy in Ezekiel 38. We know the prophecy in Isaiah chapter 17. And we know what will happen. But there's something that will happen that will trigger that we don't know. So now I'm suggesting to you that we're sitting here at a time where we have a world health crisis and a clearly global economic crisis and collapse. I mean, I'm seeing reports of unemployment rates hitting 30-40% in the very near term. Certainly, I think there is universal agreement by people on the Bible prophecy side that we are not going back to the way it was 2 months ago. The world has changed dramatically in just 2 months. Now, is it the coronavirus crisis and the ensuing economic crisis? Well, I think the economic crisis was going to happen even if the virus had not been, even had the virus been contained to China. But because when China shut down, that unleashed a global contagion, a global economic virus, if you will, through the global financial system that was going to just have incredible impact. It's certainly been exacerbated by the shutdowns that are taking place all over the world. But so is this the crisis that leads to this global governance, this global government? I can't say that it isn't. So it's one of these things that I think you need to be aware of. I want you to, if you want, go to the World Economic Forum Strategic Intelligence website and look through it. And I will talk more, certainly more about this on this coming Sunday, because I think this is a very, very significant development. So God bless. Stay safe. Stay in the Word. Remember, God is in control, and we have nothing to fear if we are secure in our faith in Jesus Christ. God bless.